G'day everyone and welcome back to Nat's Knackers Yard. I'm Nat, this is my Knackers Yard. That's my day commute, Thundercat. That's getting ready for MOT. In fact, I need to phone them to book them in. And on the Triumph 900 Sprint on Beast, couple of bits hopefully to get through today. One, my number plate's arrived, so I'm going to get that mounted at some point today. But first, I want to have a look at this slow puncture that actually you get a lot better view of at this angle. So it's obviously had a plug before and you can see it's come out. Now what I've done is I've ordered Tyre Master, so one of these repair kits. Now I've seen these online, I've never used one before. Comes with a little tyre pressure meter as well. So the principle is fairly simple. Pull out what you got, make the hole the right size. If you need to, jam in one of the sticks with that, push it through. You can see it's open at the bottom, so push it through, put it out, leave half of it hanging out, cut off the excess. Job's a fish, he says, with no experience, probably more confidence than I merit. So I'm going to get you at a decent height and a decent position and then bring you back in. Right, so that's you in a position where we're only slightly in each other's way. So it's got the old repair in there, so I think I'm just going to try and yank that with a pair of needle nose because it's already failed. This might be a bit more of a difficult task than I thought. There we go. Got my almighty hiss. I'm going to leave that plugged in there for a moment. Some sort of delivery going on next to me, but that's all the noise. Perfect fucking timing. Trying to hoik that back. It does say you think it's lost its stickiness, coat it in glue, and that seems pretty sticky to me already, but nothing ventured and all that. Christ, the toughest glue in the world to start. Just find something to jam into it. Christ almighty. That took a lot more effort than it should have done. Right, so it makes sense to try and get this halfway through. So just threaded the needle slightly. That looks to me about halfway through. Bit of a coat of rubber glue. Sorry, a generous coat of rubber glue. It's probably going to go everywhere, but it did say it acts as lubricant as well. So I'll put the cap back on that before I lose it. Yank this bad boy out and chuck this one back in. Now what I am going to do is grab a rubber mallet in case I need to really whack it. Right, let's go. That feels fundamentally weird, jamming something deliberately into your tyre. I wonder if I'm better off letting some air out of this tyre because I'm fighting pressure here. Am I just being weak? I think I am. That's going in slowly. Oh. I don't really want to twist it. I don't really know why I don't want to twist it, but I just don't feel like I should be twisting it. There we go, let's move it in now. Right, it says about half of it. That seems to be about half of it. Now, jam it in, then pull it out. Do I yank it out or just pull? I'll just pull. Gently. Right. Use the blade to cut off the excess, so it says. Comes with a little flat blade, which is nice. Right, certainly sticky stuff, it's sticking to me. Right, some other keck stuck in the tyre there. Yeah, not sure what that is, probably spare rubber glue from that initial fix. Right, that'll do. I'll leave that for a while. It doesn't say about leaving it for a period of time, but I'm going to leave that for a while, let it do what it's doing, and then chuck some more air in the tyre. And there we go, not the most elegant solution in the world, but frankly it works. So, drill dust. A couple of angle pieces there. I've used them before for something because the hole's been elongated there, but whatever, they're free. Chucked a bit of black on them, bent them roughly into shape, and I've just attached them, as you can see, yeah, there we go, onto the bolt for the rear light. I don't want to do anything flash, I don't want to spend any money because I need to do something with this in the longer term. I mean, it works, it's entirely functional, it's just scrappy, and it's just bolted on, whereas ideally, and once I start going through this a bit more seriously, I'll weld it on, I think, with my non-welding skills, but I'll weld it on rather than bolt it on. But it's bolted on at the moment, so this is just a bod sheet. So effectively, we go on roughly like that, and then I can piss around with the angle. I think I'm going to have to stiffen this rear suspension as well, just so it doesn't catch. But I'm just going to mark that up and get that mounted. Right, so there we go, number plate mounted. Looking pretty good actually. Like I say, I think I'm going to have a play with the shock absorber at the back, just to make sure that the suspension isn't going to take that down. The puncture repair is pretty much dry actually. Yeah, cool, I'm in no rush. I'll leave that for a while before I try and pump it up again. Cool, job's done, job's a good one. So what next? What's going on that? What's the plan? Well, I've had a bit of a think, and the think was based on the fact that surprisingly I could have got that MOT'd easily. And the plan was to grab a van, chuck both of them in, go to an MOT. But it's the practicalities of Beast is fucking heavy, and I'm not sure that I can get Beast up and down a ramp on my own at both ends. I can do it this end because I use the hill, not a drama, but the other end it just starts getting a little bit more difficult. More importantly, or more pertinently I suppose, this has still got about 70 days worth of daytime MOT on it, so it's, you know, it's legal, road compliant and everything else. But I do want to get it a full MOT. But this thing is going to get MOT this weekend. Nat, mental note, book a fucking MOT slot, you keep forgetting. I want to get that MOT because I want to get that on the market, mostly because sun's out, people are thinking about bikes again, and more than anything else, it's a fucking brilliant bike, and it needs riding. That said, I do need to sort out those bolts. Looks a bit shonky. On Beast and on daytime MOTs, a lot of digging around and stuff. There is no such thing as a daytime MOT. What there is a full MOT with an advisory that says daytime use only, I think. And looking into that, I think it can only get a daytime MOT if it has no lighting on it at all, i.e. a track bike, which therefore means that the headlight would have had to be blanked off or permanently disconnected, whatever the hell that means. So I'm not quite sure how it got a daytime MOT, but it got one, and the guy said that it was because it had no indicators, it didn't get a full MOT. So I can take him at his word and see what happens. What I do feel the need to do is get Beast ULEZ compliant, because it just opens up a massive amount of the market for it. And you know, don't worry, it's not in competition with the Thundercat yet. It's nowhere near, because I'm still pretty much in love with that. Very much in love with that. But for people to use it, they're going to need it to be ULEZ compliant. So Riverside Garage in London, central London, is the only place that does it at the moment. So I've booked my appointment for Monday to take this down for its ULEZ. I'm really looking forward to that, and I will film it, and I'll film bits and pieces and what they allow me to. Now, Charlie, Motorcycle Rescuer, did do a video 2 years ago before the current ULEZ zone in London expanded out to where it currently is, which is the circular, which is the A41, I think. Sadiq Khan wants to expand it further out to all the boroughs. Doesn't quite include me, it stops at like 40 yards short of my door, but it's happening. And for those not London based, you know, Manchester, Birmingham, I think Liverpool as well, they're all doing something similar. So it's going to roll out, and so city dwellers galore will struggle. So I think it'd be a useful video. I think frankly it might be more useful for non-regular viewers, if you follow my drift, so I'll have to make sure I tag it so that people who have specific ULEZ questions can find it. So, you know, it may be of less interest to you, but greater interest to, you know, the wider viewership. So yeah, so that's Monday to look forward to. Going on to the whole leaning and riching, and I was completely wrong and you guys were completely right. I was completely wrong because I was explaining it really badly. If you give a bike less air, it therefore burns its fuel richer, so you are richening your bike. If you give it more air, there is more air per fuel, and therefore you are leaning out your bike. I get that, and what I was trying to explain, badly explaining, is restricting the airflow, and that's the word I should have used. Restricting the airflow to richen your bike gives it a better opportunity of getting through the ULEZ on a first check, because it's not checking for the richness of your bike, it's looking at the NOx levels, not the richness. Doesn't make a great deal of sense to me that richer bikes do better, but that's what they're measuring, the NOx. So my efforts were trying to restrict the airflow. In my head, lean the airflow, but I more than understand that if you lean a bike, you're doing the opposite of what I was trying to achieve. So what, the next vid and my work over the weekend is to take this a little bit further. So these were the air inlets that I can reach with the panels on, so it's nice and simple to piss around with pre-ULEZ. That's what they look like at the moment. Dust catching more than anything else. It's not really filtering. So I'm going to try at different methods of restricting how much air can be sucked through those. So that is a very technical piece of equipment called a cut down dish sponge. So yeah, weekend's activity, I just did that to see whether or not it would work more than anything else. This weekend's activity is to fuck around with those and see. Now, again, from Charlie, who is a bit of a, who is the guru on this at the moment, because there's not a great deal on it. By restricting the airflow through, it gives it a better chance of passing. For the test itself, it runs on a rolling roll, and it needs full rev range from, you know, from nothing to medium to full throttle. So I need to restrict it so I can still get that working, but it can run like absolute dog shite. So what I want to do is have something nice and reversible that I can ride the bike down to the ULEZ testing centre, drop 50 metres short, plug in whatever I'm going to plug in, and not necessarily like that, but plug in whatever, and I can reach them through the fairing, around the fairing. So it's, you know, it is relatively simple, as opposed to every other bike where you have to, oh Christ, I know the airbox of that like the back of my hand, but certainly on the majority of bigger bikes it's lift up the engine and the airbox is on top, lift up the engine, lift up the fuel tank and it's underneath. So this is a really simple methodology of changing the airflow into the bike, which should stand me in good stead for Monday. Right, that'll do. It's supposed to be a short little update as a midweeker, but it's kind of rambled on a little bit, but I'm happy. That arrived fucking turbo quick. That was like one day. Incredible. Right, thanks very much all. That'll do me. I'll catch you on the next one.